Welcome to Kim and Angela Talk. Kim is a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, PSYCH-K facilitator, curious human, forever student, and a loving mum. Angela is a Reiki master, PSYCH-K facilitator, metaphysical nerd, compulsive learner, and childless cat lady. Come along for the ride as they explore the mysteries of the universe and their own lives, all while enjoying a good laugh together.
Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Kim.
And together we're Kim and Angela Talk. And today we have a very special guest, Angie Peters.
We're so excited.
Angie is a counselor and a tarot reader and our dear friend.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Angie.
So today what we're going to do is something a little bit different because Angie happens to be an excellent tarot reader and she prepared a reading for us today. Why don't you go ahead and talk about the tarot a little bit, Angie, and let us know what you're going to do.
Yes, I am really interested in the tarot. I got interested about 7 years ago. I was an English teacher many years ago, and I am a counselor. And both of those kind of come together with the tarot because the tarot is a series of pictures and symbols and archetypes, and the English teacher in me loves symbol, metaphor, archetype, and I really loved the idea of using the tarot in connection with counseling as a tool for self-exploration and a tool for transformation. So when I first started working with it, I worked really primarily with myself and really was astounded by how much I loved the messages that came, because the messages are very clear, they can be very cheeky, and they're right on point. So there's no getting away from what the messages are, and I loved the honesty and the authenticity of it. So that's where I got connected to the tarot, and I've been exploring reading for others for years now, and yeah, I love the way that it's both gentle and clear in its messaging. So yeah, that's where we're at today. And what I wanted to do today is there's a book that I discovered when I first started working with the tarot, and it's called Tarot for Yourself. And it's by Mary K. Greer, one of the big names in tarot. And I love it because it's got a series of exercises that you can use using the tarot cards to give you information about your life, your challenges, your teachings, your strengths, and all of the things that we can use to help us on our journey. So what I wanted to do today was take both of you through a series of cards that come up for you based on your day and your month and your year of birth. So similar to astrology, using that the time in which you were born to give us an idea of what your personality card is, what your soul card is, and what some of your learning cards are, and your destiny card. And it's fascinating what comes up, and I'm hoping that it can give us some good fodder for discussion today. You guys up for that?
Excited.
So
Yes.
For those people who are listening who don't know a lot about the tarot, there are 78 cards in the tarot, and 22 of the cards are major arcana cards. So the major arcana cards, I like to think of them as the spiritual and soul journey experience cards. So the 0 card is called the Fool. And the idea behind it is that the Fool journeys through a number of different soul experiences in order to get to the 21st card, which is the World. And the World is the card that indicates that he or she has discovered who they are and what they are meant to be. So the major arcana cards, when they come up for us in a reading, are meant to be the universal energy cards, the cards that we want to pay attention to because they share the archetypal themes. So these universal themes that are across culture that all people in all cultures seem to hold as symbols. So there will be major arcana cards coming up for us today. And the minor arcana cards are a series of cards that are more about our human experience. So I like to think of it as we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So the spiritual beings cards are the major arcana, and the human experience cards are the minor arcana. So just so that there's a little bit of information to start with as we're going through. Do you guys have any comments or questions before we start?
I'm just really excited.
I can't think of it. Yeah, I'm just curious as to how this particular. It's curious how you're using our birth data to
Yeah,
bring
so
up the cards and
Mary Greer came up with a little formula. So what you do is you take your birthday, and we'll start with Kim. We take her birthday, which is 15, and her birth month, which is 5, and then her birth year. And what you do is you just add them all together, which we won't say out loud, which you add all together, and she gets the number 1988, 1988. And then what you do is you take those numbers and you separate them out.
Okay.
And then you add them together. So it ends up being 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 8, which comes out to 26. Now, there are only 22 major arcana cards. So because her number is over 22, we need to make it smaller. So what we do is we break up the 2 and the 6 and we add them together and we get the number 8. So Kim and I, and you actually, Angela, we all a little bit different, because usually what you end up getting is a personality card from the first number, and then you break it down. For example, if we got the number 21, that would be our personality card, and then we would break it down to 2 plus 1, and we'd have 3, which would be our soul card. But because Kim's actually, her first number was 26, and it's above the number 22, she only ends up with one number. I only end up with one number, and you only end up with one number, Angela. So this is a special case, because what it means is that in this lifetime, she is focusing on her soul purpose. So the personality card is what you've come into this particular lifetime to learn. And then the soul card is your soul purpose across lifetimes. So the beauty of this is that Kim's lifetime in this lifetime is very important, because she's chosen this lifetime to really focus on her soul card. So her personality card and her soul card are the same. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Now I'm
Yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
Now I'm
So
terrified.
no, it's
Oh,
great.
no.
So what I love about this is that Kim's personality / soul card is the card of strength. So this is number 8 in the major arcana cards. And what I love about this card is that you can see that she's got the lion, and the lion has a chain around the neck, but she's holding very loosely onto the chain. You see that? Anything else you see, Kim, in the card?
I always have a hard time when you when you
It can be
say
anything.
that.
There's no right or wrong here.
I don't know. She seems relaxed.
Yeah,
and
she
pondering.
seems
I don't know.
relaxed. So the idea behind this card is that we all have within us a lion, and the lion can be symbolizing courage, which is the symbol of the lion. But sometimes if the lion gets out of control,
Yeah.
it can overwhelm us and it can become detrimental to us. But what I love about this card is that she has actually befriended the lion, because the lion is walking with her calmly, and she doesn't have to exert any effort to control the lion. She and the lion are walking side by side comfortably, and she looks at peace and serene. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Yeah, because for women, I think this card is is such an important card, because we have this passion within us that can sometimes be overwhelming and can sometimes rise up and frighten us. But this card is about getting to the place where you feel like you can use your passion for good, and you can use your passion for strength and for courage. One of the things that I thought was interesting for you is that one of the ideas that comes out of this card is overcoming self-doubt and getting to a place where you feel like you can own your fierceness and you can own your power.
You can totally see that as your soul purpose and your purpose for this life, Kim.
Yeah.
When I was looking
Yeah.
at it last night, I was, knowing you as I do, I was just blown away by it, because I mean, I love this card so much that my husband made me a book. When I first got into the tarot, he made me a book to write all of my journals, and there's the strength card, because he said that card reminded him of me. And I love this card. So, and I think it's something we all work on, is that energy and power within ourselves. And I think as women, we sometimes feel like we have to hide it, or are afraid of it. And this card suggests that you can actually own it and you can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Does that speak to you at all?
Yeah, and then also that you can kind of, yeah, well, also that you can stand in your power without necessarily the
Yes.
aggressiveness. Because I think that's the part that always, you know, comes across like you don't want to be too like, ah, but you can stand in your inner strength and like the lion, walking quietly. The power is there. It doesn't need to be like in your face and
Yes.
aggressive
She is
kind of thing.
definitely a
I think
gentle
that's,
power.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's a perfect
Yeah.
balance between the feminine and the masculine. So she's got that balance.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that card for you.
Right. Right. Very
Okay,
cool.
so now
That's awesome.
the main thing behind the strength is courage and self-esteem and overcoming self-doubt. So with each card, she in her book, she has a chart. And in the chart, she has constellations, and she basically pairs up major arcana cards so that the cards that share the same base number are in the same constellation. So because 3 of us only have one personality and soul card, what we do is we go into her chart here and look up your strength card, and we say, okay, there's only 2 cards in this constellation. The strength card is number 8, and the star card is number 17, which goes with number 8. So in your reading, the 17 card didn't come up. So because it's in that constellation, she called the hidden tarot card, the hidden factor. And hidden factor card is your teacher card. So this is the card that you have the most to learn from in
Okay.
this life. Because it didn't come up in your actual reading, but in the constellation, so that's why she called it hidden card. And your teacher card
Okay.
is the most beautiful teacher card ever. And when I saw it, I was like, how wonderful to have this as your teacher card. It's the star card, which is a major arcana card. It's number 17. And this card is about, it comes after, for those of you who know a little bit about the tarot, it's the major arcana after the Tower card. And the Tower card is when all of the systems and everything you weaved in fall apart in order to be rebuilt. And this is the very next card. And it's like the card that's the peace after the storm. So everything's calm with this card. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. And it's all about vulnerability and healing and finding your purpose in life and being aware. Like when I think of a teacher card, I think it gets at those kind of shadow sides of ourself that we want to work on. Now, this card is a very positive card. If we looked at the shadow piece of it, it would be denying ourself our talent and our grace and our beauty. And so the teacher card for you is about embracing your beauty and your strength. It is beautiful. And
Beautiful. I love the colors.
I do
I love
too.
the color of that card. The blues speak to me big time. The purple and the blues. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
there's so many different tarot decks out there. This is a book called The Gilded Tarot Royale, or a set of cards. The artist is Ciro Marchetti, and his cards are so beautiful. And all of the people interpret the tarot, so a lot of them are very different from each other. They all have basic themes that are the same. But I love this one because she is naked in the picture. And so that to me is all about the vulnerability and the beauty of our body and our spirit and just really owning who you are. There's an element of this card too. You can see that she's pouring from two vases. And in some of the cards in X, it shows her pouring from the vases and they're actually mixing together, even though it would be impossible the way that she's pouring it for them to mix together. So there is an element in this card of magic and alchemy, because she's blending from one jug and the other, she's blending the two together and they are mixing together. So it is about just find balance of, again, that this is quite a feminine card, but the femininity and balancing it out with the masculinity and the alchemy of the balance. So I loved, do you have any comments on it? Because I loved the fact that this was your teacher card, because sometimes you think of a teacher card as being one of the more challenging, because people, when they think about getting a tarot reading, they're always worried, oh gosh, what's going to come up, right? Is there going to be scary, challenging cards? I never think, as you guys know, because we've had readings together many times, but I don't see the challenging cards as scary because I actually see them as a challenge. I was like, oh, okay, let's see what I can do. So I'm always fascinated when a challenge card comes up and it's this beautiful, gentle card. So what do you make of that?
Now, I know we kind of spoke a little bit beforehand as far as sharing our messages for the day, but things that have been coming up for me have to do with balance. And today, the card that came up for me, is
Yes,
now okay a
absolutely.
time to share with this? Or was it more
Yeah.
later? Okay, so the card that I pulled for today was out of the Green Witches Oracle deck, and the card was Autumn, which, when you looked up the messages for, has everything to do with slowing down and finding balance in life between energy input, energy output. So, I mean, it really, and it's funny because I'm finding it slightly frustrating, which, again, if that's my lesson to learn, because, it's spring and kind of been working on a lot of things and kind of wanting things to engage. And it's just kind of, everything's kind of telling me to just kind of be slow and integrate and find that balance, that it's not all about the doing, the learning, the activity thing. There is that coming together of both, maybe alchemizing, maybe of the two, to just, be okay with, and not always thinking, oh, it's more and more and more and more kind of thing. Right?
Yes, and we will come back to it
yeah.
because when I get to your cards near the end, it'll completely tie back to that card. So we'll come back to that card.
It'll,
Which, okay,
it'll
I
all
always say
make
you
sense.
can't make this stuff up. And, when I started working with the tarot cards and oracle cards, the mess, and we all know this, we work together quite often, but when the cards come up, sometimes you're just like, ah, and I don't know why it still surprises me. It shouldn't surprise me, but they're so accurate and just right on point. Okay, I think we're going to move over to Angela now, because let's find your soul and personality card, and then we'll come together and talk about this year and what our challenge is for this year. So, Angela, you had your, I mean, I won't have to state your birth date out, but you had the 6th month, 29th day, and then the year, and you ended up with 2007, so 2007. And when you break that down, it's 7 plus 2. So it's 9. So again, it's not a double-digit number. So the same applies for you, is that your personality card and your soul card in this lifetime are the same, so that you can focus on the purpose. So we look at card number 9 from the Major Arcana, and it is the Hermit card. Yes, beautiful card. I was reading with someone the other day, and they said, oh, that's my favorite card when it came up. They kept thinking it was this card, and it wasn't. And then finally, when this card came up, they were like, my favorite card. So this is a very interesting card. What do you see on here?
Well, basically someone who's on a treacherous path where they can fall off, but they're holding up a light to guide them in the darkness.
Absolutely. The Hermit card is the card of introspection and personal integrity. So this card is all about protecting our boundaries and respect our boundaries, and wanting to be independent, and wanting to find inner peace. And it's all about going inside and finding that peace, like you said, even though it may be treacherous and it may feel treacherous, it's about taking that time to really go deep. And this card reminded me of you so much when I pulled it this morning. I was like, yes, especially right now where you're at. And I feel like this is a card of listening and honoring your voice, your inner voice, that deep, higher self inner voice. And that's the one aspect of this card, which is the more going inward card. The other aspect of this card, he's holding the light up, and it's an outer light as well. So this card is also about holding space for others, and about becoming a teacher and a guide and a spiritual mentor for others.
Seems about right.
There's some resonance in there.
I mean, it blows me away. I find especially this is the card that I felt like you really would be a great card for you to see today. And really...
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's it also kind of resonates with other readings you've done for me too in the past where it's come up.
Yeah.
So
especially I loved the part around protecting your peace. Just really protecting your peace. And when we think of a hermit, we think of someone who's fiercely independent, who has their own space, and who can remove themselves from the chaos. And in the picture, there's the, like you said, there's the dangers, right, in the path, and there's the dangers on the side of the path, and there's the chaos all around. And yet he does not look fazed in any way. He's got his light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I loved it. Loved that one. Okay. Now, your hidden card, when we go onto her chart and we look up the Hermit, he's the number 9s that is associated with him. So the other card that has the number 9 as a base card is number 18. Okay, because it goes down to 9. So that is the moon. What do you see?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I like that card. I don't think I've seen the moon in this deck before. But it's like the moon, like a
Hmm.
globe almost.
Yeah, his deck is quite interesting. He
That's
has an
interesting.
interesting interpretation.
Well, it's really funny because being I'm a Cancer, so the moon's my
Absolutely. And
planet,
it's even got
so to speak.
the Cancer coming out.
I can't really see it. Oh, is it? Yeah,
Oh, it's
okay, I
got the
see it
crab
down
coming out of
there.
the water.
Yeah, it's a little.
Oh,
The quality's not great.
I know it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, I can see it now.
And the wolves.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the wolves.
So in the traditional card, it actually has a
Nice.
path leading up a mountain and towards the moon, and there's the wolves on either side.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the card of mystery and femininity. There's a lot of feminine power in this card. If we're looking at this card as a teacher for your hidden card, it's all about shadow, our shadow self, and embracing our shadow self and facing our fears. So the crab in this picture is like pulling out from the water. So it's interesting because my husband has this theory that when you're trying to transform and when you're trying to change, if you have a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one of the crabs is trying to get out, all of the other crabs try to pull it down and pull it back down. So when he's working with clients on who are looking to transform, that's one of the stories that he often shares. And this card really reminds me of that. That the fear that something's going to
Mm-hmm.
pull you back down after you've managed to find your way. So that's the kind of challenge aspect of this card is the unknown and emotion, depth of emotion. And then, as you know, when I do my readings, I always flip it on its head because this card is also about trust and trusting your intuition and trusting that feminine
Mm-hmm.
power that you have inside of you to negotiate. And the Hermit card goes perfectly with this, of course, because he is negotiating, like you said, the chaos. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, the moon is there to light you, to guide your way. Yeah. And then those,
Cool.
all the people out there are knowing why I love these cards for all of their metaphor, because of course, so guiding your way. And the wolves are there as balance too on either side, although the wolves, and you can see the wolves either way, right? You can see them as a threat, but I know you and I know that. How do you see the wolf? Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
protection. They're
And
guides
yeah, for you,
and
actually a
protectors.
guide, right? So I love the fact that you've got the wolves guiding your way in this
Mm-hmm.
picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then what we do, or what she does in the book, is she says, okay, well, let's think about the year to come. What are our challenges for this particular year? And the way she looks at it is you can either start from January or you can start from your birthday. But she said what she likes to do is start at January, and the lessons for that card start to be introduced in your life. And by the time your birthday comes, you're ready to integrate the lesson. And then for the rest of the year, you're integrating that lesson, which I love that idea. So if we go back to Kim's year
Mm-hmm.
card, what you do is you take your month and your day and then this year and you add them together. So instead of doing your birth year, you add this year together. So you ended up getting 2045, and then you break them down 2 plus 0 plus 4 plus 5, which equals 11. So for you, Kim, this year is all about justice. Look at this beautiful card, her golden gown.
Very cool. So again, there's the balance, right?
Yes,
Literally the balance.
absolutely.
The yin and the
I know.
yang.
I laughed when you pulled up your theme card for today. I thought, oh, here it
Oh, that's
comes. Yes, of course, that's your theme card.
how is that possible? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that's really funny.
And this card
Okay.
is about fairness and equity and cutting through any uncertainty in order to get to truth and clarity. Because this card really is about truth and fairness. So it's a card of honesty, it's a card of self-reflection, card of balance and weighing the issues so that you can achieve the balance. And it's about, I loved this part, it's about learning and growing from all of your experiences. Because this card takes away the emotion piece of it. It's very much it's like the witness, when you have that witness part of ourselves that can look without judgment and can look at things without emotion and can really just say, oh, here's the clarity and the honest truth of it.
That's funny. All tied in, like this year, we've been working so hard with everybody with the emotion codes and removing all those stuck emotions and stuff, right? Clear the way, then make a judgment. I love that.
And what I found most fascinating is this is also
great.
my year card. So you and I have the same year card, which I
Okay.
love that we're in each other's lives and we're actually working on the same theme this year. About really finding our balance and finding, clarity in our experiences. Okay, so Angela, your year card,
you.
which you will love this because you and Kim are such close friends. Your year card is actually the card of strength, which was
Funny. Nice.
and what do you think? We've talked about this card, so what do you think when that comes up, Angela?
That makes a lot of sense and really ties into my message.
Oh, why don't you
for
bring your
today as
message up
well.
into the
Yeah. So my message today came out of my Earth Warriors deck, which is an Alana Fairchild. It's sources of light, and it's no enemy shall defeat you, not by night, nor by day, nor upon the earth, nor in the soul. You are divinely protected and empowered. You shall fulfill your destiny with joy in your heart and laughter in your belly. Play, be in nature, feel the freedom of happiness within you, even in this moment. These are your sacred powers, and with them you shall take every step upon your journey successfully, and nothing shall thwart your divine destiny. So it's about having the strength and the protection and
That ties in quite nicely.
being on my journey. It really ties in with the imagery of the hermit as well.
Yeah.
I feel like for sure, like being on your journey, having the light, But yeah, I can definitely see the strength as like my thing.
Well, and I
go
love
forward
her idea, her philosophy
with
of
everything that's been
you
going
start the year with all of the themes coming in, and then when you hit your birthday, you really feel like you're hitting your stride and you're integrating the lessons of that card. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes the birthday seem full of meaning, that, oh, okay, I have this energy that's moving me, and now I'm able to work with it and really, really integrate it. Love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are the three basic things, but she takes it a step further. Mostly we've been working with Arcana cards up to this point. Well, we have been. And she takes it into the minor Arcana cards as well. So what we do is we take our personality and our soul card, which for Kim is number 8 and for Angela is number 9. And if you know anything about the minor arcanas, those who are watching are going, oh, they're starting to figure it out, because all of Kim's cards are going to be all of the 8 cards, and all of Angela's cards are going to be all of the 9 cards. And so we'll take a moment to just go through each card so that you have a sense. And these are the lessons and opportunities cards. So these are the things in your life that will be the lessons for you, and these are the things in your life that will be the opportunities for you. And you'll see why both, because, well, when I look at any card, I actually see both sides for every card, but you'll actually see when we go through Kim's for sure, they actually go back and forth, and actually they do for Angela's as well. So let's start with Kim. So if we look at your 8 cards, we have the 8 of Wands. And the Wands cards are all about energy. So the Wands cards are connected to fire, and they are about personal power and confidence. And the 8 of Wands is about energy, pure energy, and it's moving. So it's all about energy shifting and energy moving. It's kind of the opposite, Kim, of when we did your tarot together and things seemed to be sort of in suspension. This is the opposite of that. This is energy moving. So I love this card. So this card is about transformation and living purposefully. And just the shift in energy. And then the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups, the cups, you'll see arcanas that there's 4 suits. So the first suit was the Wands, then we have the Cups, then we have the Swords, and we have the Pentacles. So whereas the Wands are about personal power and confidence and energy, the Cups are about emotion and healing and intuition. And the 8 of Cups actually was my card that I pulled for us today, how you guys each pulled a card for today's cast. I pulled the 8 of Cups podcast card, which is interesting that it also is your card as well, Kim. And this is a cup. You can see he's got, the cups are all kind of behind him, and they're all, it looks like there's been some kind of debauchery or party or something. And he's... yeah, there was certainly life, right? Life was had. And he is facing in the opposite direction. And he's decided that he's moving on to somewhere different. I love this card for you. And actually, it made sense that this card came up for us, for all of us, because I feel that's actually an energy that's happening for all of us in our lives right now. That we've decided that we are at a place in our lives where we're moving towards something new. And what he's moving towards, you can see there's light. And the moon is there too, guiding him. So this idea is about letting go and moving on. Which couldn't be more applicable to where you're at right now, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Shivers.
It's not necessarily
Sounds like
it's not necessarily that he's leaving behind something bad either. It's just because you can see that the cups, some of the cups are up, and it's just that he's made a choice to shift direction and to move away to a new direction. You're nodding. Do you have something to say?
Well, that's just, there's a few things that have come up over the past week that have indicated moving or going, or that kind of thing. So it's just kind of reaffirming all of that. Yeah.
I didn't know that actually, so that's interesting. But this card is sometimes interpreted as moving homes, like moving to a new place. So fascinating.
Yeah, no, that was
And then
a
the
card
other
that, a message that Claire pulled for me.
on Monday.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Monday when we were together doing a thing, that was a message for me.
Cool.
Get out.
Well, as I said, if you keep pulling in, the same messages will come. They'll be, here you go. This is the same message. So the 8 of Swords,
Yeah.
the Swords suit is about thought and communication and thinking. So this actually for a long time was one of my favorite cards because when I first started reading for myself, this card came up all the time for me. And I was like, because I find this card a cheeky card because I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to make it so the light doesn't shine. Can you see one in the picture, Kim?
That she's trapped, but she's not really trapped. Is that what?
Exactly. That's you couldn't say any better. She's trapped, but she's not really trapped. And I tarot because it's cheeky, and I so many times laugh, even though the card might be serious. I think it always makes me lighten up a little bit. She's got chains around her hands, but they're loose. She could just slip out of them. And she's got a blindfold so she can't see, but if she just slips her hands out of the chains, she can just take the blindfold off. And then, how far apart are those swords? Could she just walk right through them? Probably. Yeah. So this card is kind of about the prisons of our own making, that we sometimes feel as though we're trapped, but we actually have the power and the courage to untrap ourselves, to free ourselves. So even though on the surface this card, I find this card quite hopeful because I think, I actually have this within my own power to my feet. It's all just me thinking trapped. And then your last 8 card is wonderful, and I wanted to read you with this card because it's the 8 of Pentacles. And this is called the apprenticeship card because this is all about learning and growing and changing and creating who we want to be. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are your lessons and opportunity cards.
Love that. Thank you.
It's cool,
Nice.
Angela, isn't it, to listen because you guys, so when you listen, yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting, right, to see how accurate it is. And when you're hearing it for yourself, I get how Kim's responding too, because it's also like, whoa, really? Okay. And then you let it process and you let it sit with you. And when I first had someone read for me, I actually had to go, and one of the cards was really stuck in my head and I had to go research the card. I was like, I want to know more about it. And I kept researching it. And that's actually how I got involved in the whole thing to begin with. All right. So the 9s for you, Angela. The 9s are so fascinating because they're going to go back and they're going to go forth. So this one's no surprise to you, the 9 of Wands. I think this one came up in our reading together twice, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, recently. Yeah. Yeah, and I think our last
So this
reading.
one's feeling overburdened and feeling overwhelmed with life and with things that aren't actually maybe even yours. So this card is kind of about, and remember, these are lessons and opportunities cards. So this card's kind of about, okay, what am I carrying? And is it mine? And do I need it? And what would happen if I just set my burdens down and didn't carry them anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, that one definitely speaks to me.
Yeah.
Especially with I think a lot of us do this where we take on, especially as women, take on a lot of issues that aren't ours, or take on our partners or other people's problems, and they're not really ours to deal with. And I feel like that's one of my, definitely has come up over and over in relationships. And it's like, okay, what's yours? What's theirs? And kind of like allowing people to be on their own journey and just taking what's on yours to do your own journey.
It does, and it ties back into the Hermit because his thing was about boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll love this next card. I love this next card. This is the Nine of Cups, and it's known as,
Hey,
and he's super
he
happy.
looks
It's
so
known as the
happy.
Wish card. So this card means that you can have and
Mm-hmm.
co-create anything and manifest anything that you want. So your opportunities and your lessons card in this life are about learning that, when you feel you have all the burdens, remembering that you can create the life that you want. And that
Mm-hmm.
whatever you wish is possible. Love that card.
Yeah, I feel like that's one that's harder for me to
Yep. Yeah.
remember.
And that's fascinating. Your cards are fascinating because they go back and forth, back and
Mm.
forth, back and forth. And I actually feel like that's the lessons. Is not to get trapped
Mm-hmm.
in one of them other. Because you have the Nine of Wands, which is the burdens, and then you have this one, which is the Nine of Swords. I always find this card very I think most women, and maybe people, but most women would relate to this card. It's about those hours in the night when all of your fears are on you and your worries and your anxieties and feeling like, we went from the Eight of Swords, which was Kim's, where she was surrounded by the swords, and then this one's a step further where she feels like they're actually about to fall on her.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this card used to come up for me a lot too when I first started reading, and still does. And I find it cheeky as well because the swords aren't really touching her. She's not actually,
No,
yeah, they're just
just
hovering
hovering
above her,
above her.
and they're not actually stabbing her. So it's kind of this, do we really need to be up all night worrying about this? Is it something that's really going to hurt you? Or is it just the swords, remember, are,
Yeah, it's the
yeah, it's the
anticipation of the
anticipation of the
stabbing.
stabbing. Exactly. And it's the swords are all about the thinking and being caught and trapped in our thinking. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then your last one is beautiful as
yeah.
well. The Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. You know what?
Yay.
The Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, which was Kim's, it's interesting because you're the next step up in the cycle, because each of the minor arcana, they go through a cycle of 10 cards and then go through a cycle again. Remember that I said the minor arcana cards are like the human experience, right? And our human experience is a series of lessons that we learn and cycles that we go through in life. I know my mother-in-law is always saying
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's a phase and it'll pass, when I was parenting, because she knew that things go through a cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really what we're heading to the top of the cycle here. So the Eight of Pentacles was the apprenticeship card, and the Nine of Pentacles is about all of your hard work really coming to fruition and paying off. And so I'm not sure if I might have forgot to mention, the Pentacles are about the earth. They're connected to earth, and they're about the material world, security, sea, air. And this is all about having created everything you need in order to feel secure and safe. An abundance of wealth in all ways. So I love that when you look at them that way as lessons and opportunities,
Nice.
and you go through all of the different suits and you see, oh, there's this, there's this, there's this. And it's a good reminder if you can see these cards in your life as reminders. Like you said, Angela, sometimes we forget about the positive things that can come. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I like the tarot, and especially when you do tarot for us, like, or doing tarot with you, is it's definitely kind of reflects
Mm-hmm.
back what you're going through
Mm-hmm.
at the same time as like the things that you can't really see
Yes.
because you're so in it. And then being able to do the tarot reading with you gives you a way to kind of like step outside of that so you can look at it anew and from a fresh angle, and also to see, okay, well, maybe these fears that I'm having are not so real. They're just fears, or they're just the swords hanging in the air, but they don't really hurt you. It's just fear. It's just thoughts. So being able to look at the tarot then as this way of a reflective way and a guidance and the counseling way, I feel like it's really helpful. Because I mean, really, a lot of these things, when we bring them up, it's all about kind of being like, oh yeah, reminded basically of something that you already know about yourself or know about what's going on. But it's like putting that mirror up, or that reflection, so that you can be like, oh yeah, I'm just being kind of, I'm getting in my own way, basically. So thanks. Thanks,
Yeah,
Angie.
one of the
That was
books that
really
I just
awesome.
bought actually yesterday, I bought myself a birthday present and got myself some tarot books, and she calls it a remembering. And I love
Thanks.
that.
Yeah. Well, because, like, don't you use it when you're doing tarot as part of your counseling? You're using it as a
Yes.
tool, right?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easier for people to hear their higher self or guidance when it's laid out in front of them. And they can actually, like you said, they might already know it, but when they see it outside, it allows them to integrate it in a different way. So I actually have found it super useful that way. And I find it beautiful because even though some of the truths are
Sweet.
challenging, they're still beautiful. Well, thank you, girls, for being you gals, for being so vulnerable and for allowing me to present the cards to you, because it does take some vulnerability and courage to have cards presented to you. And you are both always so gracious and open, and I much appreciate it.
Well,
Well, you notice we didn't do any romance cards for Kim.
that wasn't in the messages for today. Well, I want to
I
thank you,
know.
Angie, because you really hold the space beautifully for allowing the vulnerability and for the sharing and for, just holding it for us too in such an amazing way to allow us to hear the messages too. So it really is upon delivery, I would say. You have a nice, gentle, optimistic delivery. So thank you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Angie and Kim. And I feel like this is probably a good place to end the podcast for today. You feeling good?
Feeling complete. All
Awesome.
right.
Well, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Angie. Thank you,
Thank our
Kim. Thank you,
audience.
me.
Thank you, Angela,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, and thank you all for watching. And please click like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And you all have a lovely day.
Yes.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching Kim and Angela talk. Please like and subscribe below. To book sessions with Kim, visit keycranio.com. To book sessions with Angela, visit thisreikilife.com. Thank you.